One job I have been meaning to do when I got a minute is to do a bit of work on this exhaust. This is the exhaust that came with the gold belly, and it had this U-bend as well. So I had a bit of a job getting this U-bend off. If you look at the earlier videos, I had to actually cut off the studs, drill them out on the exhaust manifold and re-tap. So at the moment the door is just too low on the shed to have this fitted because it's really long like. So what I usually like to do, because I will fit it at some point when I raise the door, is, this is an example now what I used on the Ferguson 20 diesel over there, is I made a sleeve. Now this seems to be wider or whatever, or I didn't cut it a long enough amount of it. This is just a bean tin that I cut, and it fits over there and it goes into the bottom of the exhaust, and it seems to seal them up, because I always find that they're just a bit too loose in there. With the clamp even tightened up loads, it seems to be blowing. So I went into the kitchen and I emptied the contents of this out, and it seems to be a little bit better of a fit. So there is still a little lip in there. So I'm hoping that if I grind that back with the Dremel, that I should be able to use it. Now for this end here, which one am I going to put up? This end is tapered a little bit narrow there. So I'm going to get the Dremel, I'm going to try and cut around that band there. Or I could cut in around there and allow that to slide up in there. We only need a certain amount here to go down to there, but I prefer to keep the whole lot together because it'll be far stronger. And because there won't be a split in it, what was happening when there was a split in it is you were getting this kind of a shape here for whatever reason. So I'm hoping to keep this in one piece. I don't know is it going to fit perfect, but I'm definitely going to try and find out. So I have the cutting disc on the Dremel, and yeah, let's see if we can cut this nice and neat. I don't know whether to cut around there, or maybe I might just cut in there, because this is good and strong and it'll help keep all of this in situ in place there. So I think that's what I'm going to do, is cut this out in there, and then we'll have a good strong sleeve. And I have to grind that lip there because it's sticking out proud, and that's stopping it going up over that. So I can put on the die grinder on the Dremel, grind that flat, try and do a neat job, and then I might start cutting this out and die grinding it a little bit. So that's just a little project to see how this will sound down the road. Whenever I get the door raised, I'll be able to fit it and see which one I prefer, the vertical exhaust or the underslung. So I said I may as well go ahead and do it and have it done at least for the day, for whenever time I go about fitting it. So let's see how we get on. I'm after doing a bit of die grinding on it there. So there's a die grinding head on the Dremel there, and that does a great job in leveling it out. So there's a little bit more to do there, but I just said I'd try and see will it fit, do you know, before I go doing any more, and with a bit of gentle persuasion. So that is going to really seal up well, I'd imagine. I'd say we'll definitely get it up in there. So I'll have to figure out now what is the widest part of this. Is this lip here wider? If it is, I can cut it off, or I can manhandle it up into it. It probably will go on up into it, but that is a really nice sleeve there. I'm not going to go die grinding any more of that off because it's nice and snug. And of course you have this little lip around there, and that does, I'll push that right up again the bottom. So that will really help things seal. I don't want to go bending that too much here now. I just want to make sure that it will go up into it. I should probably keep the U-bend in it there. So yeah, that's definitely probably pushing it a little bit there. So I'll just have to figure out, is the end wider? I might get my vernier calipers and see if the end is wider there, if that lip is wider. I might just take a little bit off it so that goes up, but that has definitely helped keeping everything good and strong. So I have a bit more die grinding to do on the inside. Mind you, it's not very important. It's only going to quieten it up a little bit more. There's only a tiny bit of a lip in there, so I'm not too fussed about that. This is a sleeve that I'm hoping that it'll take out easy enough. I suppose what I have to figure out is where it gets wider there, if that's going to be too wide to fit in there. That is what's going to dictate that a lot. Worst case scenario, I'll stick on my sleeve and I can literally just cut it a certain amount up. It won't be as strong, but it'll fit up in there a lot better, I'd say. Considering this fitted up and this has kind of corrugated, this will definitely fit up. It's just whether or not we can work with this lip here. So I'll have a play around it and see how I get on. Okay, I'm just tapping it here with a rubber mallet. It seems to be going in. Oh, I'm after bending the bottom of it. No! You dirty bastard. It was flying in and then it just does that. Anyway, at least we know now that we can make it work, but we're probably going to have to go cutting. That's probably the issue there, I'd say. So rather to go in and raid the kitchen press again for another tin of what is a very important ingredient of my wife's favourite cocktail, and risk giving out to, I just kind of tinkered it back there into shape, and I'm going to now cut it. So this is a dry run, and if it works I can always get another one, maybe one that's empty. I'm just going to cut this as straight as possible and cutting this back on the Dremel, and cut that, and then we'll try again. So no more hitting up into there. It's just going to be a matter of trying to just push it by hand. It's the hitting that seems to be causing the problem. Cutting this here, so I'll give that a cut and we'll see how it goes. Jesus Christ, talk about eating the cutting disc. So again, purely experimental now. So I change the cutting disc, cut this, and literally see if it pushes up into it. So what we said the last time was none of this. And it's just going to make shit of it. There's a good chance that this is just simply too wide and it's not going to work and all that. And there's a good chance this is wider than here because I can actually see it's a lot wider there. So there's only a certain amount of pushing and shoving you can do. If it's just too wide, it's just too wide. It's not going in down here. It's most definitely not going to go in above. It's just a pity because it could have worked out so bloody well. So it's just not happy. so far anyway. And even if it does, so what's happening is these little divots sticking out there, and they get caught up there, and you know, whole handling to get it in. But jeez, if it got it in, it'd be a savage job now, because I find these always leak, and it's just a nice little mod to do on your exhaust. Yeah, so it's been a prick now, so it is, but it's just simply, there's a good chance this is going to crumble. Yeah, it's starting to crumble in there already. So, like that. So it's just a little bit too wide. It's an awful pity because there's not much in it. Not much in it at all. This is probably the imperial equivalent. It's just a hair too narrow. But it's definitely way too narrow up there. Whereas this fits over lovely. Like, I see, I'd hate to cut it. You never get the slots to line up right, like, and then when you have a gap, you leak out through the gap. So this was one of them jobs that could have been a massive success, and I would probably be able to help a few people. Now look, on the diesel engines, you know, you don't have to be too fussy about exhausts, you know, leaking, but I find on the petrol engines, when they get hot, they can start popping, and they're noisier as well then, and, you know, whereas in 20 diesel over there, you don't have to be too fussy at all. The engine itself makes so much more noise. Yeah, so that's just kind of collapsed. It's just an awful pity, because it could have worked out lovely. It was just a matter of plug and play, as to say. Could have worked out lovely. Just a bit of a pity now, so that's such a pity to cut a slit in it, because it'll just keep leaking. So it was either going to work or it wasn't. Of course, as soon as you push in one place, it's only pushing out another place. So it's just a pity. Just what happens when she's just too wide. Because I do like modifications like this, because them exhaust clamps never seal. Oh yeah, yeah. So that's it starting there, but sure, again, you're at the same crack. It'd be all right if you could hit the U-bend. So the U-bend is not the right shape for hitting. It would want to be hit directly, flat. If you take the U-bend out and tap it in, it's all it's going to do is collapse. You can see what's starting to happen, and that gets caught there. Just not going to go much further than that, I don't think. An awful pity, no. That is one way I can tell you of really sorting out the problem. Them little bits sticking out a little bit there. Maybe if we push them in, and at the very end try and get the U-bend lifted just to the point where it can tap up into it. Leave a bit of manhandling up into it. See, all the exhaust leak through them as well, them slots. Every one of them. Just want to make sure they're completely. Do not want it starting to collapse. That's not too bad. Say nothing. We could be getting somewhere there now. Okay, how are we doing here? She's going in a little bit scoutways here, so we'll just try and help it along a bit. Bastard. It's getting hot there a little bit. Just a bit there. I'd say with a bit of playing around, probably could get it to go a lot better. Of course, I'm after putting a fucking screwdriver through it, have I? Yeah. It's a little bit wide there. Try not to put the screwdriver through it. Okay. Oh yes. It doesn't look great when you look down into it. It's a bit all over. Fuck's sake. No, pity now. That's an awful pity now, because you could imagine now if that was the right size, it'd be looking neat in there now. Said, still might be able to. Still might be able to get away with it. Still might be able to. Yeah, I think with a bit of manhandling that would go up in there. Yeah, but one thing's for sure, I do not want to go sanding or filing any more off that, because we're reliant then on having a sleeve in it, and we might not always be able to work with the sleeve. Yeah, I think it might just be possible to work with it. We'll see where it's getting caught there now. Yeah, let's see. I could have cut slots on it, and that would at the top, and that would sort it out. Would sort it out. Still think we're a bit of messing. We could get this to fit right up. So I'm going to keep messing here at that. I think this might work, and then if it does, I know I can get another one, do a nicer job on it. and have some of the prep work done before I go whacking it in, and that way with my hand it's something a little bit more usable. And we have this end as well here. I think it's a little bit narrower. That mightn't be any good, but I might do it for another exhaust. As far as this goes, I can see some parts inside there, bits where it's just after folding a bit and it's just getting tight. So what I'm going to do is find them areas and give them a little bit of a tap flat, and that might just help. It's a bit high. One thing about this is it doesn't take a whole lot of tapping. It's very workable. I love to leave this in the exhaust the whole time. Yeah, I think we're going to win it eventually. We should have a nice sealed exhaust. And I suppose the reason why I'm doing this is a fairly old exhaust. Like, I don't know if it's the original one, but it's definitely, it wouldn't surprise me. Burgess is written on it somewhere. I found it, meant to find it again. I did find it at one point, so Burgess I think was the exhaust they were supplied with, so maybe it is the original exhaust. That's why I'm trying to save it, and there's a nice sound out of it. I had to do a little bit of filling in there with liquid metal there, it was a few holes. So if I can get this sealing up right on the U-bend, easy enough, I will go ahead and do a nice proper fix in there, smooth it all out and all of that. And I might just paint it silver there. I think they were meant to be silver from factory, so I'll paint it up silver and leave it there until whatever time I have a go of fitting it. Be interesting to compare it to underswing exhaust. Underswing exhaust is fairly noisy when she's hitting, when she's working and it's hitting the hill and stuff. So, remember this exhaust is fairly quiet, and of course it looks a little bit different as well. Kind of prefer the look of the underswing exhaust, but it's nice have the choice of the two. Yeah, this is kind of straightening out a bit. Slowly. Be careful not to grab the exhaust too strong on the device. It's going to be a matter of so I'll give you a look in there and see. It's a bit messy. At the end of the day, well, that's strapped on there now, clamp around it. I have a feeling that the heat and stuff won't be long, maybe shaping her a little bit. Careful, don't go catching metal too much. Putting it too much of a fold in it. scratching it that might stand a bit proud. That'll defeat the purpose altogether. We're going so far. Give it a little bend left to right. At least it should be off fairly easy anyway, so it's something if I manage to get it on right, it should be workable. It should be workable to take on and off the exhaust silencer. Yeah, so we're up so far and it's just folding a little bit out, so I'd have to get it right. Right punch. Right punch for the job. And I think this hammer isn't great. So I'd have a look on my punches there, and don't want one that's too sharp on the end. It's a matter of running that fold that's kind of there. It's a matter of running that upwards into the exhaust. So there's a little kind of a lip there, you can see just a ring there, and it's wider above that, so it's a matter of just, I think, of trying to move that upwards. Take the crease out. It's going to be a matter of just doing that. It's going to take a bit of time, but I think in the end we are probably going to be able to work with this. I don't know if there's going to be any addition. Maybe. It's not pushing it in straight, but we keep turning it. It's going in. Yeah, that's moving it anyway. Look, it's nearly stretchy kind of metal, I think. Yeah, I think we'll work it. Getting there. Yeah, we'll take it out and have a look, see what's happening in there. And even that alone, with a bit of twisting, seems to be, you can see the shiny bit there where it was just sticking a bit proud. So I think, all in all, I think this might be workable. The most important thing is to cover up them gaps, I find, because every one of them leaks. Right, so I'll report back later on if I manage to get it in a little further.